Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be having a bit more of a serious conversation as we dip our toes into the delicate subject of men's mental health. So first off, I want to get this out there nice and early in this video, is I'm not trying to necessarily be an advocate for men's mental health, or mental health in general. I always say men's mental health, but because I am a man, and I know why I've struggled with mental health the way that I do. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a trained professional, so the main thing is, if you're really struggling, they're the people you've got to speak to because they're fully trained to help you through this process. What I'm here to try and do more than anything else, for someone who's been on this journey a few times in life, and more importantly over the last few years, the most testing of my mental health journeys by far, what I'm here to say is that not all of us want to go down that route, and that it's okay to not be okay, and it's certainly not a sign of weakness. I think a lot of men on that topic they worry about the weakness side of things. And what we'll do is I'm going to backtrack a second, because what is the issue of men's mental health? Now, firstly, it's down to the individual, but I think we can, what's the term for this? We can put collective things into a bubble here with men. I have this discussion with my wife. I have this discussion with lots of people. I think the biggest thing with men is that we feel insane pressures from every direction. I know as a dad, and I have had these moments in my life. You know, the greatest reward I've had in my wife, my greatest reward I've had in my life, my wife is one of them, but it is probably my children. But when you're a man and when you're a dad, the pressures that come with it are absolutely insane. You know, everywhere we look, it's almost like it's geared up for us to fail. We've got the pressures of, are we a good dad? Do we play with our kids enough? Are we educating them enough? Are we earning enough money? Are we giving them enough of our time, of ourselves? Are we being good husbands? Are we being good friends? You know, are we workaholics? We're not at home enough. When we are at home, we're not focused. We're too tired, and it's always that we always feel that we've got to be this hunter gatherer provider type thing. Now, again, that's not in a physical form. It's got nothing to do with size or masculinity. That's not what this is about. It's just something that a lot of men have instilled in us. What doesn't help us is everywhere you look, we see men that have their whole world taken away from them on a regular basis. I would be as confident as to say I don't believe there will be a man that watches this that hasn't got a friend or a family member that's a man who hasn't had his children taken away from him, that hasn't had his children used as a pawn, as carrots that are dangled in front of him, as weapons against him. I know one of my biggest hates in the world. I dread Father's Day. That's disgusting. I'm a dad. I'm a good dad. I know I'm a good dad. I work so hard at being a good dad, and I don't get it right. And I'm reminded of it every bloody day that I don't get it right. But like Father's Day, I absolutely dread it. I'm too scared to look at Facebook. My wife will write a nice message about me, but I'm too scared to look. Not because of her, but because all I see all Father's Day is, how about to the mums out there that are acting as dads. Now, dads don't do the same thing when it's Mother's Day. It's one day a year, guys. Just give us something. And I know not all dads are good, and I know the bad dads, they should be incriminated. Of course they should. They should lose their kids. But there's too many good dads that have to face this. You know, I've had to suffer this in the past. I've got a split marriage, and you know, whether my ex deserves to feed this comment or not, it's not about her. It's how I feel. It's how I feel about not as much her, but the courts and things like this. If I ever put one little foot wrong, God forbid I do one thing wrong, or don't say yes to that one favour, or I argue back one time, I'm going to lose my child. And also, as a dad, I feel, you know, I'm going to relate to the physical side now. I'm a big burly guy. Nothing really intimidates me too much. I've always been able to look out for myself. Um, Losing isn't the end of the world to me in whatever form it is. But, you know, the fact is most physical things don't daunt me or scare me. But I've been absolutely terrified about the thought of losing my kids. And one thing I do know is that, or how I feel, I don't know it, but how I feel is, if it ever came to going to court with my current wife or my ex or anything else over my kids, that no matter what I'd done, I couldn't win. I'm Lex Luthor fighting Superman. The whole world wants them to win, right? Now, again, there'll be women watching this that won't agree with this and will find this difficult. This isn't digs at you guys, and it really isn't. You know, again, this isn't about my ex or my wife. This is just examples. But the reason I'm giving this is because this is how us guys feel. We also feel that we're very replaceable. And it's not just that we're replaceable, and this is the side that a lot of ladies don't understand. And it's why men's mental health is so difficult. It's so hard right now, and people just don't always fully get it. But you know, I know my wife. She stands by me through thick and thin. She stood by me through my worst times, times when I've put risk on our family, so to speak, not safety, but maybe financially. I'm an open book. When I've made gambles that haven't worked out, my wife's always supported me. But I also sit here and know that most of us guys think along these lines. What if I don't provide enough? What if I don't earn enough? What if I'm not happy enough? What if I'm not playful enough? What if I'm not supportive enough? Well, what happens if my partner meets someone else and then obviously takes my children down that path and they have a new dad, a new stepdad? You know, we're men that are designed, as a rule, since time has begun. We've been fighting, we stand at the front of our families, we protect. But we could have what we're designed to protect taken away from us, literally like that. And I'm not trying to do a Thanos moment. Try and bring a bit of humour into this. I don't want it to be all doom and gloom. But like I say, this is what I think most men really struggle with. And then there's the thing of the whole man up. That whole sentence needs to do one and disappear. It's the worst sentence on the planet. You know, if anything, manning up is talking about it. And now let's get on to this part of the mental health, because it could be anything. It could be health issues. You know, I've had health issues going on of late, and I tend to keep it to myself, not because I'm so terrified of things, but I don't want to put that pressure on my family. That's not fair on them, because my wife would want to support me. But what I'm also trying to do is I've taken on board what my issues are, and I've tried to sort myself out. I've tried to fix myself. I've tried to help myself. And this is because I've learned this with mental health, and it's now gone into my physical health. So the first thing you've got to remember, guys, is whatever you're feeling, whether it's because you've lost someone, whether it's over your children, whether it's over your earnings, maybe you've lost a friend, maybe you just don't feel good in yourself, maybe it's health, whatever your issues are, the very first thing you've got to do is acknowledge them. That's more important than anything else. If you do not understand what your issues are, if you can't face them, if you can't look at them, then you've got no hope no matter what you want to do. You could pay hundreds of thousands to professionals, but if you don't even know what your issues are, it's going to be hard. And okay, some professionals will be able to dig in there and get this out, but it's going to make your battle going forward a lot easier if you can accept what is going on. I always refer to it as demons. I've been riddled with demons for most of my life, and I know, like, typically daddy issues. Let's call it daddy issues. Don't think there's much chance of my dad watching this, because I couldn't really care. But yeah, you know, that my relationship with my dad caused huge issues for me growing up, particularly as I hit into puberty and started becoming a man, and your testosterone's through the roof. You know, as a young man, when you're going through this, it's an incredibly difficult time. But I got what we could say is probably a little bit violent. I was always looking for scraps and things like this. I pushed myself away from the family I did have because I felt quite lonely and hurt all the time. You know, my decision making as a man wasn't the best. I went down some dark paths in life. Even into my adult life, I've been married twice. I've not had a father figure to any of them. My last wedding in particular, I've separated from all this now, which is why I can talk about it. But it still hit me. You know, my wife's dad is there, her brother's there, her uncle's there. And, you know, I just wanted, just on that day, I wanted that hour slot I wanted that hour slot where I could sit with another man who's me, who gets me, who I get in, where I could have a cigar, have a whiskey. And the irony is my dad's really into that stuff. But I didn't have it, and I got emotional. And you can tell this is getting to me, guys, because I'm normally very confident in my videos. I don't do the whole arm thing, and I'm catching myself doing it because I'm digging into my past a little bit with this stuff. But it's important that I do it. So, like I say, you've got to face your demons, and I got a chance to do that. I got a chance to have it out with my dad, and, you know, the minute I did, everything changed. I walked downstairs. Cami, who was my partner at the time, we weren't married then, but she's my wife now. She overheard the whole conversation. The minute I got down the stairs, she threw her arms around me and said, "I'm really proud of you," and that really helped as well. You know, I literally sent her a video the other day where there's a guy leaning over a counter, and the video is implying that he's struggling. His wife just walks behind him and cuddles him, and he was like, "That's my safe bubble." I can relate to that. That's why I sent this to Cami, because I'm the same. I don't necessarily need to always talk about it. Just feeling those arms around me, and only my wife does this. Even my kids don't really, but no, just getting that gives me a lot more strength. But yeah, so I faced my demons, and I've obviously faced far harder things than that. This is the thing. I'm not going to bring that up. That's not fair. But I have faced far harder than that of late. But like I say, guys, so it's facing those demons. You've got to face these things. You've got to fight them. One of my favourite films in the world, keeping with men's mental health, is Bruce Lee, The Dragon Story, or Dragon Bruce Lee Story, whichever way around the film is, 1998, I believe it is, where he's often facing this phantom thing. It's like a ninja, a big lizard reptilian ninja. Now, I'm a deep thinker, I'm an overthinker in certain ways. And I got the gist of that film really quickly. This whole film, he's fighting this phantom, this ninja. It just comes at the worst times. It's when he's filming a film. It's when he's doing an advert. It's when he's out and about somewhere, and this demon just rocks up from anywhere. Whatever was happening in the background at the time stops, and then he's in a battle with this demon, and it always beats him. It always defeats him, and then as he comes to, it's like he's back in the film set, and everyone's like, Bruce, you okay? That's the thing, he's not really facing a physical demon, it's the mental demon. And one of my favourite bits about this film, and I can't watch this film without this getting to me, and I've watched the film so many times because it's an important film to me and who I am. But one of my favourite scenes in the film is towards the end. He's had his son, and he's famous now. He's rich. His life has changed. He hasn't seen this demon for a while, but this demon rocks up while he's making the movie Dragon. And this time it's really getting the better of him. It's really getting on top of him, and he's literally beaten, he's battered, he's on the floor. And then he hears this little voice shout out, Daddy. As he looks up, the phantom turns around, and it's his son, Brandon. The phantom starts walking towards his son. So the story, what this is trying to imply is your demons are starting to affect your family. Because he was being snappy with his wife, snappy with his kids at this point in the movie. He was never at home. And yeah, this phantom is starting to affect his child. It's going for his child. So he gets back up, and for the first time ever, he fights back. Now, I'm not going to ruin the film for people, but let's just say this is the last time he ever faces that demon. And it's such an important message. It is such an important message that you have to face these demons and you have to fight them. That is the start to anything. You have to want to sort yourself out. Now, again, I'm not going to go all deep into this because it is a delicate subject. I said this at the start, and there'll be people that watch this that don't agree with a lot of what I'm saying. Again, I'm not trying to push that this is what you've got to do in life, but it's from my side of things. I always want to give my side of things because because with what I have been through in life, I'm still sitting here smiling, quirky, positive. I hurt every day. With the last thing that really happened to us, I hurt every day. I feel hollow in certain places. No one will ever understand it. I feel separated from everyone. It's a very lonely place to be. There's not a day that goes by where it doesn't absolutely destroy me. But I can still get on here and smile. And if you've met me in person, you know it's not just me on video. I cope with life. I always look at what I have got. And I always keep close what I haven't. You know, I've got photos of who I lost. I look at them almost every single day. There's a bit of a memory. And yeah, there you go. So I didn't want to get like this in the video. But that shows that's the kind of proof into what I'm having to deal with. And yeah, so like I say, you have to face this stuff. You have to own it. Talking is vitally important. I'm not much of a talker with things. I mentioned about my physical health. I've kind of kept that to myself and I'm dealing with it. Now, that's where the difference is. I don't need to talk about that because I've heard it, I've accepted it. And what I've done is once I've sat down with the doctors, they've told me what's going on, what I need to try and do, what I can potentially do. I've gone and picked up my meds. I've rolled my sleeves up and I've got ready for the fight. I don't back down from fights. Doesn't matter what kind of a fight it is. I'm a fighter. I've had to fight since the day I was born, and I'll fight until the day I leave. It's just in my makeup. Nothing's ever been easy. Even this shop that's going on, nothing easy about it. Things have gone quiet at the worst possible time. You know, everything's happening at once. But, you know, I'm fighting. I'll always fight. So, yeah, with those sort of things, I don't talk, so I roll up my sleeves and fight. But when I'm not winning the fight, when I'm not on top, when I'm scared and I'm alone, that is when you've got to talk. You know, something happened with Cammy and I recently, which was nowhere near as severe, but I got myself into a lonely place. And it was making things worse. My decision-making was awful. She could see I was vacant. She just took control of the situation, figured out what was going on, sat me down and said, right, we're getting through this. And that was the help I needed. I got all that fight back. So yeah, that's the importance of you've got to accept these things, and you've got to know, you've got to be able to talk. You have got to be able to talk when you need to. If you're facing things on your own and you're dealing with them, it's one thing. if you're not facing them and you're not dealing with them, that is the importance of talking. It doesn't have to be to friends and family. It could be to strangers. That's something I found has helped. You know, whether it's friends in a group, whether you join certain groups, whether it's to a stranger, whether it's professionals, talk. Just talk. You're never alone. We're humans. The vast majority of humans don't want other humans to suffer. Most of us have empathy and want to help others. So, you know, don't be scared to reach out and try to talk. It's also little things you can do to help as well, because when you're going to battle, you need to gear for it. Like if you're a boxer, you've got a fight 4 months away. You train, your diet changes, you get in shape. If you've got a war coming, you prepare, you train the troops, you train the soldiers, you educate them. You know, if you're a Spartan and you know a fight's coming, you're in there training. Some people are trained to be fighters; they spend their whole life training to be fighters. So you get yourself geared up for these fights, and this is where there's some little basics that can help. And this is something that I talk about a lot in other videos as well. The first thing I'm going to come to is your physical health. I'm a huge believer in to get the best out of your mental health, you need to have good physical health. And in my personal opinion, and with what helped me, is I found that the physical health first is the way to go. So, you know, especially with what, again, the most difficult thing I've been through. I hit the gym seriously hard. I got into healthy eating and I started trying to sort myself out. The eating stuff I found quite okay. By eating well, eating what I need over what I want, eating the right amount of calories, you don't have to starve yourself. I say this all the time, it's not about that. When you talk about diet, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to diet. But, you know, eat the calories that you need for your activity levels in life. Eat the food you need, as in the calcium, the potassium, the iron, the carbs, the meats, the proteins. Get your vitamins, and you know, make sure you're getting all the right foods first. Eat clean, eat good, eat healthy. If you can challenge yourself to do that, no matter what you're feeling mentally, you'll start to run better. Your skin will start to feel better. Your breathing, everything will start to feel better in a really quick period. I think for most people, and I'm always up and down with diets, I normally find within sort of like the 3 to 4 days, I feel so much better. I feel cleansed. I'm starting to detox. You also will find if you're eating healthy, you start to sleep better. You start getting better sleep patterns. You start going to bed that little bit earlier. Stop watching garbage on TV all the time. Watch garbage. I mean, I definitely watch my garbage. Like if the kids and Cammy go upstairs, the first thing I'll do is watch a film that I've watched a billion times. I'll watch an Aliens, a Terminator, or something Marvel, whatever else, just to let my mind relax and separate from things for a little while. But before I go to bed, I don't watch garbage. I don't scroll through Facebook and read the news. I will go on Facebook, but I'll go on the Manners Lounge. And I'm not trying to push the Manners Lounge, but that's where I will go because it's always good content in there. There's never drama. It's always positive stuff. I'll watch quirky videos on TikTok. I went there. I'm in my 40s. Yeah, I'll watch TikTok. I'll watch reels. I'll watch fun stuff. And just again to separate from the working day, the stresses of being a dad, a husband, a friend, and everything else, you know, just get my mind separated for a bit. Then I find that I will sleep a lot better. Suddenly you can sleep more throughout the night. Maybe you're going to wake up less. Because you're getting better sleep, you're going to wake up better. You're going to wake up with more energy. You can use that energy to start doing exercise. That's going to make you feel better. As a man, exercise releases, well, for everyone, exercise releases lots of endorphins. Most of us know what these are by now. You can release testosterone. You can start feeling better about yourself. You can start feeling more confident. It's not all about weightlifting. I lift weights because it's what I like. A friend of mine once said to me in a subject with other people, he brought up, we both done weights, and he was like, you know what it's like, Jay, like when you're doing the weights, you've got to really gear yourself up because you don't really want to do it. And I was like, actually, I don't agree. I was like, if you don't enjoy it, you've got to do something else. You've got to do something you enjoy, whether it's running, cycling, swimming, HIIT workouts, you know, cardio, boxing, whatever you've got to do something you enjoy and something that you look forward to doing. And also just do it. Don't look for reasons not to do it. The best workouts I've ever had in my life are those ones where the day is trying to stop me from doing it, but I do it anyway. I have never done that and felt anything other than amazing about myself. Those days where, like, I say, it's everything against you. I've had a few times in my life where I've worked out at like 10:30 at night, which isn't like me. Some people do that all the time. But in the garage, in the dark, the rest of the house was asleep. And yeah, just getting them done makes me feel so much better about myself. So there are some of the basic things you can do to help you on this journey. With this as well, guys, your mental health is your mental health. I'm not preaching. Some people can't fight it as much as others. And like I've said a few times in this video, this is just me giving you my examples of what I have done to help myself and to potentially better myself. You will never hear me say I fixed myself. I'm broken. I'm a broken man, and I'll never be anything other than that. But at the same time, I've got things that I like in my life. I suppose one other thing I'll hit on with this as well is something I talk about is the importance of doing things that you enjoy. You know, it's a good example of this is again, and you know, this is where you've heard me mention my wife Cami quite a few times. That's another thing, is having the right people behind you is definitely a help, and that's something where I'm lucky and I'm blessed, and that's where I look at the good things I've got. But it's the cigars is a classic one. Cami doesn't like the smell of cigars, which is, I find that very odd because nearly everyone else in the world does. I sit out the shop having a cigar and all I hear non-stop is, "Cool, that smells good," or "I bet you just love the smell of cigars." "Oh, my dad used to smoke cigars." Everyone seems to love them other than my wife. But, and here's the big but, is she knows that they're a really big part of my hobbies and things that I enjoy. So she fully promotes them. Nearly every Father's Day, birthday, Christmas, I'll get cigars. I bought myself a cheap humidor a few years back, just a really cheap one that I wanted to do up because, you know, I hadn't long started Beard Manners. I couldn't keep throwing money around. I was trying to be sensible with money at the time. As it got delivered, it was all broken, and I only paid like 25 quid for the thing anyway. I thought by the time I argue with the sender, it ain't going to be worth it. But she could see how gutted I was. A few days later, I get home to a really nice humidor. The humidor that you always see in my pictures and stuff. She treated me to that, even though she doesn't like the smell of cigars. She wouldn't smoke cigars, doesn't necessarily agree with cigars, but she knows the importance of doing things that you like. Whether it's hobbies, sports, programs, you've got to be a little bit selfish at times, only a little bit. You know, this is the thing with me, is I'll always put my family first. Always, always, always. Cigars, I'll get to work a little bit early on a Friday and have a cigar. I'll do one after this video. I've got to work extra early today. I've got here hours early. I've packed some orders. You know, so they're all ready to go. That's my priority from the work point of view. Do this video because I'm keeping on top of these as best I can for Friday with the move looming. And then I'll go out there and have my cigar, have a bit of me time, half an hour, hour and a half, a couple of times a week. That's enough. That's plenty. So make sure you get some you time and make sure you do the things you enjoy, whatever they are. But with this, guys, like I say, don't listen to my video and think this is necessarily what you've got to do. Like I keep saying, this is what I have had to do for me, and it has helped. Most of all, what you've got to do to help get yourself through these difficult times is find yourself, find your demons. You know how you fight things, you know how you don't fight things. Most of all, like I've said, is speaking to the professionals. They are fully trained to this. It is not a weakness. Scar tissue is some of the toughest skin on the body. It's skin that has been torn apart, ripped apart, damaged, and has healed. It's took time, but it heals back stronger. Something that's broken that can heal and be repaired doesn't necessarily have to be weak. I won't be fixed. I've told you this already. I'll never be fixed. But I'll tell you what I'm not, guys. I ain't weak. I'm very far from weak. And with every fight you have, whether you win it or you lose it, as long as you survive it, you learn from it. It makes you bigger. It makes you stronger. It makes you more powerful. And it gears you up and gives you experience for the next one. Saying I heard recently is life isn't designed to be easy. And I shared this on my Instagram, funny enough. Don't wish for an easy life. Wish for the strength to endure a difficult one. This is a funny video, guys, because like I say, it's not a preaching one. It's just to help those. If I can help one person with the video I've just done, then it means everything to me, because I needed this help once, and I wish I could have seen this when I was going through what I was going through. This isn't for everyone. I'm sure some of you won't agree with this. Again, there's different severities of stress and mental health and everything else. I'm not judging any of it. This is just to help some of you. If it can help any of you, I hope it can. Feel free to comment, guys, whatever your opinions are on this, because it all helps. Even if you're strong, if you've got the strength, if you've been through the battles like I have, try and let others know that it's okay to feel that way. Sometimes us guys just need to hear this. And I keep referring to guys, same with women as well. I always call it men's mental health because I am a man, I'm not female. I can't necessarily relate to what females go through. It isn't harder being a man. I've explained to those what I think the main issues are as a man and what can cause the stresses for us, what can cause so many men to go to such severe lengths in life. But that's not saying it's worse. women's bodies go through insane changes that we can't even possibly imagine. You know, what women with child loss, it's bad enough for a man, but what a woman would feel is just, as a man, it's insanely different. I think they go through tougher things than we do. I think the thing is, I think the majority of women are mentally stronger than men. I think is the truth of it. You know, we can preach that we're built for wars and we can run faster and fight harder if you want to, if you really need to prove all this masculine bullshit, which is what it is. But yeah, we're not as strong mentally as they are. So, you know, like I say, please, women, don't think this is all about poor men and everything else, because it's not. I just want you guys to understand why we get so deep into the thoughts that we do. We feel very vulnerable at times, and, you know, just so much an arm around us can help. Anyway, guys, this has been a very different video. I've been a bit quieter with this. I think I've gone off tangent a few times. It's been a difficult one for me, so please respect that as well. You've seen I've had to really fight stuff back myself with this, but I'm an open book. And listen, like I say, guys, if any of you think it's not manly to talk, if you think it's masculine to keep it to yourself or weak to cry, you've just watched my video. I've just borderline had to force myself to stop being in tears. I've opened up. Come and tell me how weak and girly I am. We'll see how that goes. I know you're adjusting that, guys, but like I say, it's not a weakness. There's nothing weakness. It's the strongest thing in the world. Anyway, guys, a difficult video. Please leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Help each other, support each other. Let's change the dynamic of men's mental health going forward. Have a good one. Stay strong, stay safe, and stay bearded.